arguing for the end of adult marijuana prohibition is easy because we have facts, science, reason, compassion, evidence, truth, and logic on our side. It is even easier when researchers catalog it all for us. Learn how to gather the facts on marijuana use, arrests, seizures, rehabs, drug tests, and more in this edition of Drug War Data Mining. Welcome back, everyone. Almost 23 after the hour, and today we're taking a look at a report that has come from the ArcView Group, their most recent report on marijuana legalization. This report makes predictions for the industry dating all the way out to 2020, and the group discovered that the market for legal cannabis grew by 74% in 2014. This is $2.7 billion in industry in the past year, up from $1.5 billion in 2013. The report further concludes that if the trend toward legalization spreads to all 50 states, marijuana could become larger than the organic food industry. Now, they surveyed medical and recreational marijuana retailers, as well as the ancillary businesses and independent cultivators for 7 months between 2013 and 2014, also compiling data from state agencies, nonprofit organizations, and private companies for a complete look at the marijuana marketplace. And I'd like to turn to some slides here that we have, graphs from this report that are quite telling. The first one here shows us their prediction for marijuana legalization happening all across the United States by 2020. And the current legal states, of course, Washington and Colorado in dark blue, and then Oregon and Alaska in a lighter blue that have adult use by 2014. In the next electoral cycle, adult use 2015-2016, ArcView Group is predicting marijuana legalization will come to California, Nevada, Arizona, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Delaware. Now, I think that's a pretty ambitious prediction. I'm not so sure of the chances of legalization in Arizona, having only passed medical marijuana by the slimmest of margins, 50.13%. Legalization chances in Maine are pretty good, I would say, as well as Vermont, depending on how their legislatures will work in Vermont. Maine does have initiative, so they may pass it through the initiative process. Massachusetts does as well. Rhode Island's another state where we're looking at a possible legislative passage of adult legalization. And in Delaware, again, that's a state where it'll be kind of hard to predict. I'm not so sure we can really count on Delaware. In the following electoral cycle, 2017 through 2020, predictions are for Montana, New Hampshire, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Maryland. I got Delaware and Maryland confused. I'm sorry. The next electoral cycle would be Maryland, and the following would be Delaware. Again, these are pretty bold predictions. Montana has had some trouble keeping its medical marijuana program running through the threats of legislators. Hard to predict how they'll go for legalization. The prediction for Connecticut isn't that far off. New Hampshire could definitely come around by then. New Jersey, that's a really bold prediction. Even by 2020, the state has been so reticent to move forward, even on medical. Hard for me to accept that that would go forward that quickly, but you never know. And then, of course, tiny Delaware moving forward in 2020 as well. Looking at this map, you can tell that it looks like Idaho is pretty much going to be surrounded. That whole Intermountain section of states, Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, are pretty soon going to be surrounded by legal use states. Taking a look at another graph that they've provided for us, this one shows us a look at the states that are proposed to have medical marijuana passing as soon as possible. The states that already have medical marijuana shown in the dark green, 23 states so far, and actually the greenish states through different years. The dark green are the ones that passed 96 through 2000, 2001 to 2005 for the next shade of green, the next lightest 2006 through 2010, that kind of gray green 2011 through 2014. And they're really only predicting 2 more states to pass medical marijuana by 2016. Those would be Pennsylvania and Florida. And we're hearing good news out of both of those states with respect to medical marijuana's chances. I think they're leaving out a state here. I think Wisconsin has a chance to pass medical marijuana, and neither of these graphs have shown any activity in Missouri, where I find that the activism is still very, very strong, and the possibilities of legalizing in Missouri are very good. The billions in sales are shown, 2.7 billions in medical sales and of retail sales and 20% wholesale. Of those sales, 82% of the sales of marijuana in America are for medical use, 18% for adult use. And finally, in our last graph, a look at how all of the sales have broken down in legal marijuana. The state of California providing almost half of all the $2.7 billion in U.S. cannabis sales, 49%. Colorado racking up another 30% to be number 2 in the list. Washington State sitting at 8%. Arizona at 6%. Michigan at 4%. Oregon at 2%. And all other medical marijuana states coming in at 1% of those $2.7 billion in cannabis sales. This, of course, illustrates how important legalization is in the state of California coming up here in 2016. And the total market share of all states legalizing marijuana, if all 50 states legalize, they're saying it would top out at $36.8 billion. That's $3 billion larger than the organic food industry. Troy Dayton from the ArcView Group says these are exciting times and new millionaires and billionaires are about to be made.